Hello, class. It's time to start thinking about your second paper, which will be an opportunity to practice summaries. One of the most important writing skills for college students is the simple and humble summary. For your second assignment, you will be writing summaries of Why Idaho Kids Don't Go to College by Daniel Walters. But to begin with, we need a definition. What exactly is summary? A summary is a shortened version of an original text, providing the main points and written in the writer's own words. Summary is the first paper in the Ways of Reading series of assignments that we'll be practicing this semester. One challenge of teaching and learning about summaries is that the qualities of a good summary change based on context. Some summaries are brief, only a sentence long, while others need more detail. You need to be prepared to write summaries of varying lengths for varying purposes for quality work in college. So, to practice, for your second paper, you will write 3 different summaries of why Idaho kids don't go to college. Each summary will be a different length: 50 words, 100 words, 300 words, exactly. Yep, you heard that right. 3 summaries, 1 source text. You'll have the original article, which you'll summarize in 300 words, then in 100 words, then in 50 words. For the 2 shorter summaries, you'll want to use your space well. Don't use your space using a bunch of synonyms like very young, small, early peas, when just peas will do. We don't like filler. Instead, cut the clutter and make sure every word is doing important work. Some things that I'll be looking at and for is that you have introduced the name of the author and the title of the article in each summary. I also want to see you use at least 1 quotation in the 300-word summary. When you do so, please frame your quotation with a tag and explanation. I love a good quote sandwich, which you will read about in the Art of Quoting. You should also use a lot of signal phrases like according to Walters or Walters argues, etc. And finally, please include a works cited page so we can establish the habit. Here's a free citation, since we haven't had time to practice citations yet. I put a handwritten citation in every copy of the various articles you'll be reading this semester that you can also copy. We will practice citations later in the semester, but some things to notice for now is that my example is double-spaced with hanging indentations. If you don't know how to do that, I can help you out during the week we practice citations later in the semester. Basic nuts and bolts for this paper is that it should be 450 words exactly, it is worth 6 points, and it's due on Sunday. The grading guide I'll use for summaries include criteria specific to the summary form and assignment. You can look at this more closely by looking at the assignment page on Moodle. Let's take a minute to look at the difference between summary, quotation, and paraphrase. I didn't fully understand this distinction until I was in college. So, quotation is a word-for-word copy and pasted straight from the original text. You use quotation marks to indicate where the quote begins and ends. For paraphrase, it's a simplified, in your own words version of the original text. Paraphrases simplify a small section of the original text, like a sentence or a paragraph. Summary is a simplified in your own words version of the entire original text. The difference between paraphrase and summary is that paraphrases look at the part and summaries look at the whole. Let's do a quick practice identifying summary, paraphrases, and quote. Here's a multiple choice question. In Why Idaho Kids Don't Go to College, David Walters argues that Idaho kids don't attend college because of the rural geography of the region. Is this an example of paraphrase, quote, or summary? That's right. It's a paraphrase because it only refers to one point of the original essay, not the full argument. Let's look at another. Ginny Sue Weltner, a spokesperson for Idaho's Go On campaign, says, quote, "It alarms me that people aren't more alarmed by this." Parentheses, Walters. This is an example of paraphrase, quote, or summary. That's a quote. It copies word for word text from the article. Sometimes you might have to quote a source that the person in your article quoted. This is a good example here of how you can do that. Okay, let's do one more. Multiple choice. In Why Idaho Kids Don't Go to College, Daniel Waters presents personal stories and statistics to show that the youth of Idaho are not college goers compared to other states, and he argues that it is an economic problem for the whole state. This is an example of paraphrase, quote, or summary. What do you think? That's right, it's a summary. It includes the main argument of the whole article, not just one section of the article. Although there are differences in summary, quote, and paraphrases, they do have some things in common. Do you know what those similarities are? Well, besides the fact that they are shortened versions of another article, something that they all have in common is that paraphrase, quote, and summary must all name the author and title. In fact, a good rule of thumb is to name the author in every sentence. I recommend going completely overboard in naming the author. Why? Because there are professors out there who just love to slam students with plagiarism charges. Protect yourself and leave no doubt. Another pro tip is that summaries need to be objective. This means you shouldn't express your own opinion about or respond to the original text. The original author should be able to read your summary and say, "Yeah, that's exactly what I meant." You should even avoid adjectives that express bias. So don't say, "in David Walters' amazingly persuasive article," or "in David Walters' stupid and offensive article." Both of those descriptors indicate how you feel about the essay, which reveals your bias. One note about objectivity is that it might actually be impossible to be completely bias-free, but we can strive for it, and I hope you will do your best. Some things you can do to prepare for writing the summary is to make textual annotations of Why Idaho Kids Don't Go to College, do the reverse outline of Why Idaho Kids Don't Go to College, read the article quoting assigned for this week, watch the incorporating sources video assigned for this week, and come to class, of course. All right, friends, happy summarizing.